Eric Dane, the stoic leading man whose chiseled features and brooding intensity have anchored countless screen dramas, recently experienced a moment of profound collective affirmation that transcended the boundaries of a mere film set. On the bustling production lot for the eagerly awaited medical drama Brilliant Minds, where the air hums with scripted urgency and the clatter of equipment, Eric was met with a 10-minute standing ovation from his fellow cast and crew. This wasn't a scripted scene from the show, no dramatic swell of orchestral music or cue for applause, but a raw, unfiltered outpouring of admiration and solidarity, born from the actor's unwavering commitment amid his personal battle with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, the relentless neurodegenerative disease that has tested his resolve like few roles ever could. The ovation erupted spontaneously at the close of a particularly grueling day of filming, as Eric wrapped a pivotal scene portraying Dr. Oliver Wolf, a brilliant yet haunted neurosurgeon navigating the ethical minefields of modern medicine. The sequence demanded emotional depth, confronting a patient's terminal diagnosis with a mix of clinical detachment and buried empathy, a challenge that mirrored Eric's own off-screen realities. As he stepped away from the microphone pack still clipped to his waist, the set fell into a hushed reverence before erupting into thunderous cheers. Colleagues rose one by one, co-stars with whom he'd shared late-night script reads, directors who'd marveled at his precision, grips and lighting techs who'd witnessed his quiet perseverance through physical therapy breaks. 10 minutes ticked by in a blur of claps, whistles and tear-streaked faces, a temporal suspension where the hierarchy of Hollywood dissolved into shared humanity. Eric, 52, stood at the epicenter, his trademark smirk softening into something vulnerable, eyes scanning the room with a gratitude that words might dilute. ALS, diagnosed in 2022, has progressively weakened his muscles, turning everyday actions into calculated efforts, walking with a subtle limp, enunciating lines with deliberate breath control. Yet on Brilliant Minds he channels that adversity into authenticity, infusing Dr. Wolf with a layered intensity that feels lived in. The character, loosely inspired by real-life neurologist Oliver Sacks, grapples with his own neurological enigmas while unraveling patient mysteries, a meta-reflection on Eric's journey. It's not about the disease, it's about the fight within, he might say, echoing sentiments from past interviews where he's framed ALS not as a thief of identity but a forge for it. The series itself, a Peacock original penned by Michael Grassi of Riverdale fame, promises a fresh take on the medical genre, less procedural, more psychological odyssey. Set in a cutting-edge New York hospital, Brilliant Minds follows Dr. Wolf as he assembles a team of unconventional minds to tackle cases that blur science and soul. A violinist losing her synesthetic perceptions, a veteran haunted by phantom pains that defy scans, a child prodigy whose genius masks a degenerative secret. Eric's Wolf is the linchpin, a man whose scalpel-sharp intellect conceals a fraying personal life, estranged family, unspoken regrets, mirroring the isolation ALS can impose. Filming demands physicality, long hours on his feet, precise gestures for surgical simulations, emotional monologues that tax vocal cords already strained. Yet Eric arrives prepared, collaborating with speech coaches and stunt coordinators to adapt without compromising vision. This ovation wasn't isolated, it's part of a groundswell of support that's defined Eric's path since diagnosis. Public announcements were measured, focusing on awareness over pity, partnerships with ALS foundations, quiet fundraisers masked as cast barbecues. On set, accommodations are seamless. Ergonomic props, flexible scheduling, a closed-knit circle that anticipates needs without fanfare. Co-star Zendaya, guesting in a recurring arc as a neuroethicist, later reflected on the moment. Watching him command that scene, knowing the mountain he's climbing, it's humbling. The ovation was our way of saying, "We see you, all of you." Director Sarah Adina Smith, helming the episode, paused production to let the applause breathe, her own voice cracking as she hugged him. "You're not just acting brilliance, you're living it." Eric's career trajectory adds poignancy to this chapter. From Grey's Anatomy's McSteamy, that chiseled surgeon whose charm masked turmoil, to indie turns in The Last Ship in Eden, he's always leaned into complexity. ALS has sharpened that edge, turning performances into testaments. Off-camera, he's a devoted family man, married to Rebecca Gayhart since 2004, father to 2 daughters who've become his anchors. Home life informs his work. Scenes of Wolf mentoring a young resident draw from bedtime stories shared with Billy and Georgia, imparting resilience amid uncertainty. The Brilliant Minds set buzzes with innovation. VR simulations for diagnostics, diverse writers' room ensuring authentic narratives. Eric's input elevates it. He's advocated for ALS storylines, consulting experts to portray progression realistically without sensationalism. A subplot involving a patient's misdiagnosis echoes his own early symptoms, twitches dismissed as stress, sparking meta-discussions on healthcare gaps. Crew anecdotes abound, a PA fetching his favorite herbal tea, costume designer sourcing supportive garments that don't scream prop. The Ovation crystallized this ecosystem, a family forged in creativity rallying around one of its own. Beyond the set, Eric's story ripples outward. ALS awareness has surged, with his platform amplifying voices like those in the Ice Bucket Challenge legacy. He's penned op-eds on vulnerability and masculinity, drawing from charmed days where he subverted heartthrob tropes. Friends like Patrick Dempsey, a Gray's alum-turned-racer, send custom bikes adapted for mobility, blending brotherhood with practicality. His daughters, now teens, accompany him to premieres, their pride a quiet rebellion against the disease's shadow.